Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to another episode of Movement Radio. I am Chip Hazard.
I'm Talon Williams.
I'm Roger Sierra.
And I'm Braden Howard.
And week 2 is here. What a crazy week one was in the NFL. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Are You Ready for Some Football? Before we jump into it, man, how'd you guys feel about week 1?
Well, isn't that sort of jumping into it?
How did you want to jump into it?
Well, I was going to do this quick trivia because I didn't warn you guys so you didn't have time to prepare for this question.
I have no preparation whatsoever.
That's the point. That's the point.
Well, go ahead.
You're always prepared, like Preparation H.
Whatever you use to help you, my man. Go ahead.
Wait, how many questions are we doing?
It's just one question. But
Okay.
But it's going to be a top 5.
Top 5?
Yep.
Oh, is this like Jeopardy?
No. So here's what it's going to do.
Do I have to answer in the form of a question?
No. You'll just write down your answers. 5 to 1. Or 1 to 5, however you feel comfortable.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. So for this week, now that week 1 is done, name the top 5 receiver duo going into week 2.
The top 5 receiver duos going into week 2.
Yep.
Okay.
So we just saw week 1 happen. Who were the top 5 duos dominating week 1?
I'm ready, man.
Oh, what the fuck is that guy's name?
All right. Well, while you other two ponder, Braden, go on and tell me what you think the top 5 are. You don't have to tell me like if you ordered 1 through 5. Just tell me what the 5.
This is going off of week 1 performance, right? Because I'm going to say some out of pocket shit. All right.
Yeah. Hey, when I was looking this up, I was like, "Fuck, there's no way." But yep.
We're gonna go 5 to 1.
All right.
So number 5 on the Rams, Puka Nacua and Tutu Atwell just completely shredded the who was it? Who they play? The Seahawks.
Seahawks, yep.
And I don't even know how. Puka Nacua had 15 targets. I don't know how many receptions he had, but Matt Stafford made him look like a superstar. And Tutu Atwell made some clutch catches. That was number 5. Number 4, Calvin Ridley and the Jaguars. Calvin Ridley and Zay Jones absolutely shredded the Colts. Calvin Ridley came out and he showed why the Jags wanted to go out and trade for him.
Then she's so bad he lagged himself out.
Yeah.
Number 3, I put Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. Jordan Addison had a touchdown. Jefferson had like $190 receiving yards, if I'm not mistaken. Both of them balled out. They took the L, but still they killed it. Number 2, I put Debo and Brandon Ayuk. They definitely killed it against the Steelers defense, which I did not expect whatsoever. And number 1, I put Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. That was a really high-scoring game, and they both went nuts. Tyreek more so than Waddle, but still. That was my 5 to 1.
Okay.
Well, I don't want you guys to do like the name number 1 through 5 or 5 to 1 or anything like that. Because
I thought you said. I thought.
When I said don't worry about 1, I thought you said don't worry about 1 through 5 or 5 to 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll take my numbers away then. So, as you can see on my little board here, I didn't know the receivers' names for the Rams, and I had no fucking clue how to spell them. But I put Rams.
They have like 6 receivers though.
I mean, it's the 2 that Braden said. I could not spell their names for the life of me. That's why I was like, I'm out. And then I had Zay Jones and Calvin Ridley from the Jags. I actually put Amon-Ra St. Brown and Khalil Raymond from the Lions.
Who you said is Calvin Ridley and who? Zay Jones?
Yeah. From the Jags.
Mm-hmm.
Then I had Amon-Ra St. Brown and is it Khalil or Khalif Raymond?
Khalif Raymond.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Then I had Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle and Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel. There was another player that balled out, but you asked for duos, so
yeah. John, do you have your 5?
Yeah, in no particular order. The Rams receivers, I couldn't remember their names. I just knew one of them's last name was Tutu or something like that. Zay Flowers and Calvin Ridley obviously had a big day.
Zay Jones, you mean?
Zay Jones. I don't know why I said Zay Flowers. Amon-Ra St. Brown and Raymond had a good game. Tyreek and Jalen, even though Tyreek overperformed in my opinion with over 200 yards receiving, and Debo and what did he not have over 200 yards receiving?
I'm confused as to how you would say that the receiver on your team overperformed. Like, don't you want him to perform like that every game?
Just because I say somebody's overperforming doesn't mean I'm disagreeing with it. I mean, he overperformed. He did. It's a good thing. I'm not saying it's a negative thing. I'm just saying he overperformed.
Okay.
He balled out.
It sounded like you were saying it in a negative manner because you're like, even though he overperformed, I was like, what? Hold on.
Just take what I say at face value. Don't look at. All right. What happened to Roger?
He said he'd be right back.
Oh, okay.
All right. So
I won't go
Roger,
go through these 5. So, I'm trying to see. I think you guys all got. I think Braden won with 4 out of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 1.
Who were the?
All right. So I'm gonna actually do it in order 5 through 1. I figured it'd be kind of hard to actually pinpoint them exactly, but number 5, the duo of Brandon Ayuk and Debo Samuel, combined they had 13 out of 15 receptions, 184 yards. Brandon Ayuk was actually 8 for 8 on receptions, 129. He averaged 16.1 yards, and Debo averaged 11 yards. They combined for 2 touchdowns, but both of them were Brandon Ayuk. Number 4 duo was Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed. 13 out of 16 receptions, 201 yards combined. Olave obviously had 112. He averaged 14 yards, and Shaheed actually averaged 17.8 yards, and he also had the only touchdown in the duo. Number 3 is JJ and Jordan Addison. 13 out of 18, 211 combined yards, but obviously it's inflated because JJ had 150 yards. He averaged 16.7. Addison averaged 15.3, and there was only 1 touchdown. It was actually Addison, which I thought it was JJ when I went through it, but no. Number 2, Tutu Atwell and Puka Nacua. They were 16 out of 23, 238 combined, and they actually split it evenly with 119 yards each. Tutu averaged 19.8 yards, while Nacua averaged 11.9. They didn't get any touchdowns because for some reason when they went down the field, they were not targeted. Makes no sense to me. And number 1 is obviously the Dolphins duo of Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. 15 out of 24. Yes, it's very inflated because, Tyreek Hill had 215 yards, but they combined for 293. But they both actually averaged exactly 19.5 yards per reception each, and then 2 touchdowns went to Tyreek Hill. And actually, the 6th place team was Jacoby Myers and Devontae Adams, with Jacoby Myers outdoing Devontae Adams.
What was the biggest surprise of this week?
The Jets win.
The Jets winning on a walk-off punt.
That or Deshaun Watson back rubbing the Bengals to sleep.
Man, that was. Whew.
You got to remember.
I didn't expect LA to walk into Seattle with no-name receivers and completely dice up Seattle. And Seattle had no offense whatsoever the second half. I think they had a total of like 10 yards second half. They fell flat on their face. I did not expect that.
I wasn't expecting the blowout on Sunday night. Like, I was expecting the Cowboys to do good. I mean, I picked the Giants to win as I figured it'd be a close game. I wasn't expecting 40-0.
That first drive looked very, very promising. I was like, okay, we're going to get something going here. And then, boom, it was gone in an instant.
That's what happens when you have no receivers at all.
Yeah. Can we talk about how pedestrian the Eagles' offense looked?
Almost losing to the Patriots.
I will say, though, that there's a new OC there, and it's going to take a little bit of time. New running back, too.
I'm just saying, they looked like they took 2 steps back from last year.
Yeah.
I would say you could say that about the offense, but how do you explain them letting 3 touchdowns from Mac Jones?
Yeah.
Did they score an offensive touchdown?
Who?
Eagles.
The Eagles? Yeah. Jalen Hurts, I think, ran in 1 or 2. Did he not? I think he. Let me go to.
I'm not sure that they scored an offensive touchdown.
Jalen Hurts ran 1 in. Oh no, he passed 1. It went to Devontae Smith.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought he ran it in.
Yeah, Devontae was 7 of 47 and a touchdown.
But let's real quick hit on the big news of the week. Aaron Rodgers done for the season, torn Achilles.
Mm-hmm.
That sucks for football in general, man.
Yeah.
What was that?
You
said it sucks for football?
Yeah, I mean, you think about it. I mean, as much as people hate on the Jets and Aaron Rodgers, I understand that, but like the competitiveness that he brings compared to what someone of Zach Wilson or like a Joe Flacco is going to give the Jets, I think it's good for football, good from a fan perspective, and we're actually going to see the Jets be good again, I think. So it does suck. It does suck because there was a lot of hype going into that. Like the entire offseason, that's all we talked about. But
I think it's great for football because we don't have to hear Aaron Rodgers bitch about his teammates being a shit leader.
You'll still hear him bitch.
His opinion won't matter because his ass ain't on the field.
Right.
Go ahead and go be on Undisputed with Skip Bayless. Go ahead and do that shit.
Right. And then the Ravens losing J.K. Dobbins for the season.
That one broke
as well.
Immediately. Like, really? Come on.
That one broke my heart, man. I was like, damn. For like, this is what, the second year in a row he's had a bad season-ending injury? Man.
It just sucks, man. I wanted nothing but the best for that guy. And like, he's such a good person and a good teammate. And it just sucks that his career is probably done.
He's a really good player, too. Just never gets a chance to play.
Yeah. So I pinpointed both of those injuries to ask, what are you guys' opinion on artificial turf?
Turf sucks in general.
Yeah,
turf
sucks.
Look at the majority of our injuries across the league, most of the time it's happening at MetLife or Washington's Field.
Or Bengals.
Yeah.
It's no coincidence, I'll tell you that.
No. And not to mention the fact that, it's artificial turf, which means that it's synthetic. And most of the time you get tackled or something like that, you got synthetic stuff getting kicked up, dust all around and stuff like that, and people breathe it in. There's a big, I can't remember who it was. I think it was Eric Berry who caught Hodgkin's lymphoma, and they're not saying that he got it from the AstroTurf, but they're pretty much the artificial turf, but they're saying that artificial turf has been known in the past to be linked to different diseases and stuff like that because of the fibers and different things that they use to create the synthetic or this different stuff to create the artificial turf.
Does Arrowhead have artificial turf?
I don't think Arrowhead does. I know Cincinnati's field does, MetLife Stadium does, Washington has an artificial turf, Atlanta has artificial turf. Really any indoor stadium has artificial turf.
Which is dumb. Just go ahead and get the stupid skylight dome top and just let the sun come in and freaking shine on your grass and just maintain it.
So the World Cup announced that they are moving away from artificial turf this year and will play the World Cup on real grass. Why can the NFL not do it? We pay these teams, owners, whatever, are paying hundreds of millions of dollars to have these stadiums built. We can pay for upkeep on regular, real grass. My opinion.
I think it's different for soccer, though. They're doing a lot more running.
What was the Super Bowl played on?
That it's not artificial turf, but it was still turf. That shit grass.
You guys not remember that shit? That was god awful.
I don't remember what it was supposed to be. New turf, but it was worse.
Yeah, it was bubbling up.
Well, it was coming out, ripping off. Yeah. Like it was not setting at all.
Every time someone would get close to a sack or anything, like someone would make a breakaway, someone would slip.
Yep.
Yep. Terrible.
Yeah. Hey,
Let's go ahead and hit the keynote for the week.
Well, let me ask one more question though before we get going. How do you guys feel about what Mike Tirico said when he said that the Lions win should have an asterisk next to it because Chris Jones and Travis Kelce didn't play?
Next man up. Two
Thank
guys.
you.
My thing that never makes sense
Thank
is whenever a team does lose a big player and they lose, they never say that. But for some reason this time they're trying to cover up the Chiefs' fucking loss.
Yep.
Right.
Because whenever Tom Brady went out for the Patriots, they weren't like, well, the team beat them, but they didn't have Tom Brady. No, they just said, hey, shit happens.
When he was suspended those 4 games and you had to face Jimmy G and Jacoby Brissett, didn't they win 2 of those games?
Yep.
So it's like, you didn't say, oh, well, this win doesn't count because Tom Brady didn't play. You know what I mean? Oh, but and even with the loss, it's like, it'll be okay, But no, you'll do it for Pat Mahomes because that's your poster boy, right? Okay.
We're trying to take away from the Lions, who did win, thankfully.
Yep. So, real quick, everybody's record from week 1. Chad won the week, 10 wins, 6 losses. Roger came in second with 9 wins, 7 losses. Talon was third with 8-8, and Braden and I were tied 7-9.
Yeah.
So,
already third place. Yeah.
I think the big takeaways were Lions beating the Chiefs. I mean, literally none of us except for Roger seen that coming. I think the Browns beating the Bengals was kind of a shocker to most of us. All of us had picked the Bengals to win that one.
Was that upset of the week, you think?
Other
big for the score, yeah.
Cowboys beating the Giants 40-0. That was a big one. And then Jets beating the Bills in overtime with a walk-off punt. I thought that was
you guys also down Baker Mayfield.
Baker played good, man.
Key moments from this week.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
I mean, like I said, do you guys down Baker Mayfield beating the Vikings? Is it for me?
What's that record going to be week 16?
Doesn't matter. 1-0. 1-0.
Okay, all right, okay. What was game of the week in your opinion?
Dolphins Chargers.
Dolphins Chargers. Come on, that was that game was the closest. It was literally down to the wire. Like, it had drama, it had intrigue. You didn't know what was going to happen.
Bills Jets.
I don't know. Saints and Titans were a good one too.
Saints and Titans was good.
Bills Jets went into overtime and the
had
Jets
to walk
won
off.
on a walk-off punt. Go ahead, Raj, because I have a question about the Jets-Bills game.
Well, I was also going to say that it wasn't a close game, but the Panthers-Falcons game was actually good too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But go ahead, Chip.
Yeah, before we move on to week 2 picks, tripping or no tripping?
No.
Overtime? No?
No, after watching it back, the Bills guy did a double move and got the guy to whiff, and he jumped out. Like, when the guy whiffed on the tackle, he just went straight horizontal, and he tried to jump around him. It was just entanglement of the feet. Wasn't an intentional trip.
Braden?
I don't think so. I mean, I think that there's been a lot of calls this week with the tripping. I mean, like, sometimes the shit just happens. I mean, there was one time in the Chiefs Lions game it got called, and I mean, literally, David Montgomery just got put on his ass. It wasn't even his fault. But especially with the game last night, I don't think so.
Alan?
I don't think so either. I mean, hell, it ain't like a coach tripping a player going down the sideline like what they did in Pittsburgh.
What team was that again?
The Pittsburgh Steelers.
I thought the Jets did that. Oh no, wasn't the Dolphins that did that?
No, the Pittsburgh did it, and the Jets did it.
How does Mike Tomlin get away with that? I don't get it.
He's Mike Tomlin. No,
He was
Mike Tomlin.
he was doing his job. He was on the sideline doing his job.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's go with that.
All right.
All right.
So
Do y'all
any,
want to go?
well, I'll
Go
just say before we wrap up week 1, who are some of your guys like heroes of the week? I'm going to say the guy I've been touting even last season, Brees Hall. I think he was a hero
Had
of
a
the
good
week.
game.
Then Jacoby Myers coming out of nowhere after being nothing in well, I don't want to say nothing, but not being as relevant in New England and coming to the Raiders and pretty much being the consistent like driver for them. He was another one, and obviously Tyreek Hill, fucking trying to make himself be the number 1 receiver, and Justin Fields still played pretty good with that shit offensive line.
I have 3 that kind of stand out for me, and they're all rookies. Bijan Robinson balled out in Atlanta. I thought he did amazing there. I'm a Bijan fan. I don't like the Falcons, but I'm a Bijan fan. That dude is going to be something amazing. Zay Flowers in Baltimore. The way he was carving up the Houston defense was insane. And I mean, it's not like Houston has a terrible defense. They've actually got a much better defense than people think they do. And then the other one was Will Anderson Jr. For the Texans. He only had 1 sack on the game, but he was consistently pressuring Lamar Jackson into making mistakes the entire game.
So you actually took my next question after we answered. I was going to ask about the rookies that stood out, but
yeah, my bad.
My 2 heroes, I think, definitely Puka Nacua was wow. I think he shocked everyone. In the draft process, he was really high on a lot of guys' boards, but a mid-round pick, you don't expect to come out week 1 and do what he did. 15 targets and just the production he had in key moments was really, really impressive. And a guy on the defensive side of the ball, Aiden Hutchinson, I don't think he did not get credit for that Lions win. He was on Patrick Mahomes' ass all night long. And even wherever they shifted him from the outside, wherever he was struggling when the no call was getting called on the offensive line, they shifted him inside, and then he just gave that guard all sorts of trouble. And I think he really, really did good this week.
I'm always a Hutch man myself.
Yeah, Hutchinson's great, man. Obviously, call me a homer if you will, man. But Tyreek Hill played awesome. But also, Tua played good too, man. 466 yards, the 4th. In week 1's, I saw the stat earlier today. Week 1, most passes thrown in a week 1 game. It was like somebody, I can't remember who was at the top, but then it went Tom Brady, Dan Marino, and then Tua. Tua when he's healthy, he's awesome. Somebody else that I wanted to give some flowers to, man, Calvin Ridley coming back and then having the game that he had. Calvin really balled, man, and he is the number 1 guy in Jacksonville now, in my opinion. I think if he can stay consistent, then Jacksonville's gonna have no trouble, sweeping the division. And let's say heroes. You want to pick 3? I'm taking that front 7 of the Dallas Cowboys. 7 sacks. Just eating Danny Dimes up. Like Micah Parsons literally. Danny Dimes goes back to throw. Literally stands there for like 3 seconds, and all of a sudden, there goes Micah Parsons, and it's like, God, he had 2 sacks on the day, and a forced fumble, something like that.
That's the thing I want to add on to that. It did not matter what offensive line you put in front of them that night. It did not matter. They were eating anyone alive. They would have ate Patrick Mahomes alive, Josh Allen. It did not matter. They were killing them.
I'm going to say this, and I'm not a big Dallas Cowboys fan, but I'm going to say this. Dallas Cowboys could have a top 3 defense in the league. They could. I mean, now granted, it was against the Giants, so it's just one game.
No, sir, don't even say that.
But
last season, we wasn't saying that same thing when the Giants was out there doing work.
You're right. I agree with you 100%. But I wasn't expecting this defense of Dallas. I wasn't expecting, because Dallas last year's defense wasn't as good as what I seen last night
They're healthier.
or Saturday.
The two rookie offensive linemen for the Giants, I think, played a big part in that too. But still,
Yeah, that's a tough matchup to go against Michael Parsons. Like,
Well, not just also
Can
D-Law too. Like, come on.
go ahead, Chip.
Can I add one more?
Of course.
Gibson from the Jets.
Yes. The one that did the punt return.
Yeah.
What's so crazy, because there was a thing. He was like, what was it? Wasn't he the last player picked on the 53-man roster?
He was a walk-on.
he was a UDFA. He was a star on Hard Knocks.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And then they said, "Hey, you're a Jet," so he gets his big moment.
So the last question for week 1, Chip already answered his, but I was going to go like the rookies that stood out to you, or just performed better than expectations. And I'm going to start with Anthony Richardson. His team didn't win, but he did really good. They actually did not run him a lot, which to me surprised me, because I expected them to Cam Newton him and just force the run, but he stayed in that pocket pretty well. The offensive line did try to protect him well. He did get sacked 4 times, but most of those were like bootleg scrambles. But no, he was 24 for 37, 223 yards. Sorry, he had a touchdown and INT, but he'll get used to it. It's that pace of the NFL. The rookie quarterbacks are bound to throw interceptions. Addison from the Vikings, he really helped give a cushion to Justin Jefferson by being so dangerous of a threat, like I've said earlier. And Bijan Robinson probably would be my number 3 for that. We had high expectations for him, and he exceeded them already. Granted, the Panthers' defense isn't that great, but if this is what we expect to see him going against teams in that division, the Falcons may fuck around and actually win it.
Yeah. And I'll add one to my rookies with CJ Stroud. And I know Homer pick, but like that kid, look at his actual stats. He balled out.
Yeah, he did a good job, man. Zay Jones did a good job.
Hold on. Give me Zay Flowers. Zay Flowers would be my guy. Who I drafted in 3 leagues. And then somebody in one league, not going to say anybody's name here, took him from me. And in another league.
Little fantasy football talk, ladies and gentlemen. Because why not? But no, Bijan Robinson definitely, man, was incredible this week. He did real good. Bryce Young was okay, but some play. I think Anthony Richardson had a better debut than Bryce Young did. Oh, you're hitting yourself in the head. What's going on, Braden?
I just remembered a rookie that did really, really good that impressed me. He wasn't on the stat sheet. Didn't do crazy good, but Kyron Williams on the Rams, he actually got more touches than Cam Akers, and he was popping off for 5-6 yards a carry. Like, it was insane. I was like, holy cow!
Yeah,
like I loved him in the draft process, but I did not expect him to get that much work.
No, he definitely showed up, and definitely that's gonna be such a nasty backfield tandem right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be good. Yeah. Before we jump on to week 2 picks, do you guys want to go over the power rankings?
I guess the top 10.
Okay. Do you want NFL or ESPN? Because there's 2 completely different rankings.
NFL.
Yeah.
NFL.
Yeah.
All right, we'll go NFL power rankings. I had ESPN up. That's why I didn't. Here we go. NFL. Here we go. All right. So, of course, we always start with our teams first, just to see where our teams lie. The Houston Texans fall at number 31 this week.
Yep.
Staying in the same spot where they were. Stupid fucking thing work. All right. Scrolling up for there. Jesus, the Giants dropped 9 spots. That's funny.
Should be my team.
The Denver Broncos are ranked at 20.
We didn't move at all.
The Broncos are ranked at 20.
So, real quick, I want to talk about the Broncos because they're doing the same situation as last year. We lost a game. by a fucking point again. This is like
Yep.
out of the last 2 seasons, I think we've lost 5 or 6 games by a point, and then like 12 games by a score, like a touchdown or less. And it's fucking irritated me so much to always be right there and not win. I'd rather get blown out at this point. Just fucking make it embarrassing.
I hope he figures it out.
Well, while he is figuring that out, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna hit him with a mute, and I want to finish this up. So, next on the list is going to be the. It's going to be. No, we're going to go straight to number 10. One from there. Number 10 is Baltimore Ravens. They lost Mark Andrews in week 1. Or for week 1. Obviously, the loss of J.K. Dobbins, but you guys were still able to perform. Zay Flowers and Lamar Jackson had a really good connection. Like I said, I thought Zay Flowers would probably be rookie of the year earlier in the year. Going up right there from 10 to 9, we're going to the Jets. I'm not going to say they don't deserve to be ranked well, but I think this luck game shouldn't make them rank number 9, in my opinion. From there, number 8, the Bills. Even though they lost, they dropped down from 3 to 8 after this go-home punt, and Josh Allen also shit in the bed and throwing too many interceptions, in my opinion, but they'll figure it out. 7, Jacksonville Jaguars. They look as good as they did at the end of last season. So still high expectations. Number 6, the Lions. I like them, but I don't expect them to be in the top 10 right now. Crazy. They jumped from 11 to 6, but it's week 1. We'll see. Next up at number 5, talent teams, the Dolphins. Yeah, we've talked about it before. The Dolphins, when Tua is healthy, is a dangerous team. Definitely deserving to be in the top 10. Number 4 is the Cowboys. I guess Skip Bayless is right sometimes. I'm going to move on from there. Dropping for some reason is the Eagles down to number 3. Don't get that.
They won, but still dropped a spot. I don't get that one.
We'll get this. Right above them at number 2, jumping from 1 to 2, is the Chiefs, even though they lost. And number 1, the team we said had the potentiality of going to a championship and being very dominant, and that's the 49ers. They showed out. First game, it was the Steelers, though, and the only person performing for the Steelers was TJ Watt. But Christian McCaffrey just out there doing CMC stuff. Yeah. And then Brenda Ayuk, we talked about it, being dominant. Debo out there being the number 2 option randomly. I thought that was weird, but Ray McLeod also did his job. He didn't get a lot of looks his way, but he was there for good blocking and also just taking up space in the zone area, which is what a slot receiver should do for most part. But Brock Purdy over here still laying big old Brock Dick Purdy over there.
Well, I mean, he showed up week 1 and proved that last season was not a fluke, that he wasn't Mr. Irrelevant. Like, he is him for the 49ers.
Yeah.
All right, so jumping over to week 2, we'll start with the Thursday night game. We got Vikings versus Eagles. I'm going with the Eagles to win this. I think they bounce back from the slow, kind of sloppy start they had week 1 and have a little more continuity in week 2.
I am also
Go ahead.
I am also going with the Eagles to win this one.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I think we're probably all going to go Eagles here. Something that is going to be key in this matchup is Garrett Bradbury, the center for the Vikings, is going to be out. So that defensive line for the Eagles is going to give Kirk Cousins all sorts of problems like they usually do. So be mindful of that and just remember that this is in Philly. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, but since this is in Philly, it's easily going to go the Eagles' way. They don't really lose at home anymore. But no, I think this is going to be such a harder matchup for the Vikings because of obviously the defensive line being too stout, but also the defensive backs are really good at covering Justin Jefferson.
Yes.
I assume
Eagles.
Chad is also going Eagles.
Well, of course, Chad's going to go Eagles. Every game this year, if the Eagles are playing, you don't have to ask who Chad.
What a homer.
It's set against the Packers.
Yeah, except against the Packers. Yes.
Well, speaking of the Packers, we'll move on to our Sunday games, and the first game of the day is going to be Packers versus Falcons.
This will be in Atlanta, so
yes, it'll be in Atlanta. I'm gonna go Falcons to win this. The Packers did look good in game one, but so did the Falcons, and I'm not convinced that the Packers can stop Bijan Robinson right now.
I think the only reason why Jordan Love had the game that he had was because he was against a shitty Bears team, and I think the Falcons are a way better team than the Chicago Bears. That being said, though, Bijan's still going to kill it. I'm going to go Atlanta also.
We can't say Bijan, but Kyle Pitts had a really good showing this last week too.
He did.
He did.
There goes that Braden face again.
No.
He did not have a good showing.
We're just going to get that face put on a shirt. That's going to be the next.
Stat wise, he did not do good, but he was out there blocking
Falcons
and
pass
causing issues.
R.I.P. Falcons pass catchers.
Nah, this man with the hate in his blood already.
So who are you going with, Braden?
I'll actually go Packers on this one. I think it really comes down to Desmond Ridder versus the Packers defense. I think Jordan Love will do just enough to get the job done, but I think the Falcons matchup last week with the Panthers defense, it was very messy, and I think a couple of their scores for the Falcons were a little fluky. So I got to go Packers here as much as I do want to go Falcons, and I do think that Bijan will dominate. I just don't think that Desmond Ridder will be able to get it done late in the game if they have to go throw the ball on this Packers defense.
Okay.
I'm also going to go Packers for the simple fact that Aaron Jones is still there. I think the Packers are going to start pretty quick and fast, trying to get the score up, forcing the Falcons to go more pass heavy than run heavy. And yeah, Desmond Ridder is still not a quarterback to trust. If the Falcons are able to sustain if the Falcons are able to sustain the Packers well enough to make their own run game efficient to start up the game, then I can see it happening. But I still think the Packers are, with the weapons they have around them and their defense, is still going to be able to squeak this one out.
Something to monitor this week will be the status of Aaron Jones. I think he will play, but watch him to be a little bit limited with that hamstring. I still like A.J. Dillon to pick up the slack, though, for sure.
Oh, yeah. That's a good 1-2 combination in Green Bay. That's really, I think, I won't say the only thing, but it's definitely a key focal point is that two-headed monster in the backfield.
Yeah.
It's helping out for years.
Next up, we got Raiders versus Bills, and this is going to be in Buffalo. I'm going to go Bills on this one. I think there's going to be some bounce back to the bad play they had on Monday night. I just think that they're going to progressively get better as long as Josh Allen's elbow holds up.
Yeah, this is definitely a revenge game. I'm going to go ahead and say Bills to win this one.
This is a classic 1-0 versus 0-1 matchup. You want to look at the 0-1 team to bounce back at home, and you definitely see the talent with the Bills for sure playing at home. You know how the Bills fans are. It's a definitely big-time bounce-back game for the Bills.
Yeah, I'm going to go Bills. I don't think the Raiders' defense is good enough to keep causing as many issues for Josh Allen that he was facing against the Jets. Because we got to admit, the Jets' defense is easily going up and being one of the top defenses in the league. But no, the Raiders, Max Crosby is really the only point, and I feel like the Bills' offensive line is good enough to at least keep him back. I know he'll probably get a sack or two. Max Crosby is just that nasty, but overall, the Bills I think are bouncing back. We know how Josh Allen is on revenge tours. He might not even throw an interception in this game, hopefully. So we'll see.
All right. Chad is also going Bills on this one.
Who do you pick for the Falcons-Packers game?
Packers. Did you even have to ask?
You didn't have to.
We move on from Raiders Bills. We're gonna go Ravens Bengals. Braden, I'll let you start this one off since you are a Ravens fan
and a Bengals fan.
The house divided.
House divided. Yeah.
So, with as much as I do want to pick the Ravens here, I think it definitely comes down to a lot of key injuries. We do know the big one is J.K. Dobbins, but a lot of people do forget that Marcus Williams with his pec, he is probably going to be out a little bit. Ronnie Stanley, I don't expect him to play, as well as Tyler Linderbaum. That's two key guys on the offensive line and a defensive leader on the back end. So I think going into Cincinnati with a couple of different guys in different places, this offense didn't impress me the way I thought it would. I know it's going to be slow, but going up against a tough Cincinnati team overall in Cincy, I don't expect us to win. But the Bengals, I think, is a little bit fluky. Week 1, that was a tough Browns defense, I know, but like I said before, when we were talking before the podcast, it was a monsoon in Cleveland. So I expect the Bengals to get back on track here, get a win at home.
All right.
What about you, Chip?
I went Bengals as well. It's just something about that Joe Burrow revenge. We've seen it before, like when he gets mad and after a tough loss to the Browns like they had last week. Now, again, they, like Braden said, they did play in a monsoon, but that almost didn't affect Deshaun Watson. I mean, that dude still balled out. But I think that Burrow and the Bengals come back. Now the big question is T. Higgins going to play?
Did he get hurt?
No, but he is refusing to sign an extension and wants out.
Oh, he'll still play.
I don't blame him.
I'm also going with the Bengals in this game.
Okay.
I am going to go with the Ravens. I still think Lamar, like I said earlier, Lamar's got a lot to prove this season. This is one of the big tests that he has to get over this season. There are tons of key injuries on the Ravens side, but I still think him and Zay Flowers are going to make things happen. Gus Edwards is going to have to step up. Is he your number one right now, or did he get passed?
It's tough to say, but it's looking like Justice Hill is more like the one right now.
Okay. Yeah. Justice Hill really stepped up when Dobbins went down.
Or is it going to be Melvin Gordon?
Get the hell out of here.
But no.
I thought they released him.
No, he's
no,
yeah.
Okay.
And now he's actually going to have to stay because of the injuries he has.
Damn it!
But no. Yeah, I think it really depends if Mark Andrews can come back or not. He's still questionable. They haven't really said for sure if he's going to be there or not for the week. Still early in the week for him to say that whether or not. So I think if he comes back, I think he's going to be able to create that space that he's used to and open up more lanes. Maybe Odell Beckham shows up instead of just taking money from you guys. But yeah, I'm going with this. What?
Played fine week 1, man.
Oh, okay.
But he had two catches?
He made one that counted.
That's what everybody's excuse for his whole career has been. He made a good catch.
Sorry, and Chad also went with the Bengals here. Next up, we move to Seahawks versus Lions. This is in Detroit.
Lions.
Okay, Jones going Lions.
Is anybody not going Lions besides Chad?
Actually, Chad picked the Lions.
Oh, he's jumping on the bandwagon.
You lying.
This is Barry Sanders statue reveal at home. The only thing, I just don't want them to get high off that Chiefs win and come home and just shit the bed.
Well, we know Dan Campbell's better than that. He's going to tell them to get that shit off out of their mind and everything like that. So it won't. I don't think they're going to be worried about that. But I am impressed with
Seattle look.
Huh?
I think with as bad as Seattle look, I don't think there's any chance Detroit drops this game.
No.
I think Pete Carroll is going to try to come back and make this a lot harder than we expected to, but I still think that mentality, like we said, the culture that Dan Campbell's brought in is definitely in full effect. And I mean, we watched it. Every guy on the Lions was grinding out there week one.
Oh, yeah.
They never felt out of the game. It never seemed like they were out of the game. Even when they were making mistakes, it wasn't a big enough mistake to where you're like, oh, the game's getting away or anything like that. So I think that's what's really good about this team is that they're really bringing back that old Detroit feel of grind out and beat your opponent physically and then mentally. And we talked about it before. We didn't know who was going to be able to help Amon-Ra St. Brown. Everybody stepped to the plate, really, and Montgomery actually came out and made himself look like a true number one running back. Like, hey, he's like, hey, I'm out of Chicago, please.
He looked better. Might be an unpopular opinion, but he looked better in one game. To me, he looked better in one game than he did his entire career in Chicago.
I can't say that. He had some.
I told you it was unpopular.
I know. He had some big games in Chicago because he was the only player there for a little bit that could do something.
But now he can
be a good
playing his ass off too.
Yeah, he came back. He early on he was struggling. It was probably the nerves, but he later as the game progressed, he definitely came back and started playing like we expected him to play as a first round pick.
Yes.
I would not be surprised if Aiden Hutchinson comes out and has 2 to 3 sacks this game.
Who's going to stop him?
just for the sole fact that Charles Cross and Abraham Lucas are out. Just before we hopped on, the Seahawks signed 41-year-old Jason Peters.
No, they didn't.
I'm not shitting you. They did.
Oh my God! Yes, they did. Wow! Holy shit!
wait for this to pop off, man. It's gonna be bad.
Also, one thing about Seattle is they depend so heavily on the run game to be their catalyst, and Detroit's defensive line was not really like it took Pacheco a while to really get it going.
Well, and he didn't even get going like
we would expect him to have gotten going. Yeah,
right.
Clyde Edwards sort of looked better in my opinion, but Pacheco had 2 really big runs overall.
So yeah, and obviously I think I already said
everybody Lions. Yeah,
Lions.
All that shit he talks.
It's all hype, remember? It's all hype, remember?
Yeah.
Next up, we got Colts versus Texans.
This is going to be a really good matchup, actually, I think.
I think it is. I think it's going to be a really good matchup. I think it's going to be a tough game for both teams. But I think the Texans pull the win off here.
I can see it.
I got the Texans winning this one. Too.
I'm gonna go with the Colts, but I feel like it'll be probably like a field goal game, like 3 points or less, 3, 2, or 1, depending. It's gonna be really close, but this will be the first test for the future quarterbacks of the future game. Which I really like when rookie quarterbacks go against each other and create sort of a legacy rivalry. I mean, we saw them before. Peyton and Brady, they played in the same division. It happened a lot. And then we had Philip Rivers also in there, but Big Ben and Eli also. So I mean, stuff like that. So we have some in this draft, thankfully. But I want to go with the Colts. Like I said, a little bit over, but maybe 3 points, 1, 2, or 3 points.
Okay. Braden, where are you going?
I think D'Amico Ryans gets his first win as a head coach in Houston, home opener. They come out, Will Anderson puts on a show. I think the biggest thing that's the X factor in this one is the performance of CJ Stroud. I think he had a ton of rapport with Robert Woods. That was kind of his safety blanket. And something that I think a lot of people are discounting is Dameon Pierce. Dameon Pierce couldn't get it going against the Ravens. It's the Ravens defense, I understand that. But this should be a big Dameon Pierce spot. I think that he'll really get it going against the Colts. As much as I think that Anthony Richardson, if he had Jonathan Taylor, I might look to go the Colts way in this one. But still, you're putting a lot on him early on. So give me the Texans at home.
My only thing was that against the Jaguars, Anthony Richardson still looked good, who I think have overall, in my opinion, a better defense than the Texans, and he still was able to hold his own in the
Texans
pocket.
Defense really impressed me this week, man.
No, for sure, they definitely were impressive.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what happens between both of these teams. Really, the Texans. I really want to see that young team blossom into something really, really special and be contenders later on. And for the Colts, I do want to see Anthony Richardson do good because everybody, William Mama said he was all hyped because he was the new prototype quarterback.
Yep. Chad is also going
to combine. So,
well, yeah, and there was the question mark on how well he was going to actually do because he only played like a handful of games or only started like a handful of games in college, right?
Yeah, Florida.
Like season at Florida, low key, like he played a season and like some change. I want to say,
yeah. He was one of the COVID QB, so he was able to stay an extra year, and it helped him out. I mean, Florida themselves weren't great, but he was. He sufficed, I guess, for what Florida was doing the last few season and a half. But yeah. But no, I think this game might be the game of the week, maybe.
It's a contender, definitely a contender.
All right, Chad is also going to go Colts here.
Yeah,
right. Fucking Chad agreeing with me.
Next up, we got Chiefs versus Jaguars. Big news here is Chris Jones just signed a 1-year extension, so he got some money. He will be on the field. Travis Kelce is still questionable. They said he's working through the knee injury, but not sure if he's going to play this game or not.
I don't think they should rush him. I love Travis Kelce. Everybody knows this. I don't think they should rush it. It's his knee, and he's not young anymore. We talk about it all the time. He probably doesn't have many seasons left. Let him relax. Yes, I know he wanted to be out there in that field. Even if he's hobbled, he'll still try to make plays, whatever. But against this Jacksonville team, I don't think that'd be smart.
But I'm going Chiefs to win this one. But I think it's low-key going to be a really competitive game. And we'll see if Chris Jones actually
makes
does
a difference.
Well. We'll see
he'll make a difference, but
we'll just see how well he does after sitting, all of preseason and week 1. So
could be rusty.
This will be his first, real test of actual football. But I'm going Chiefs to win.
I'm going Jaguars. I'm going to say this is the upset of the week, and I'm going to go with Jaguars.
Would it really be upset for the team with one win over the team with no wins would win?
The underdog is always really, people think that Jacksonville is going to lose to the Chiefs. That's what the majority of people think. Therefore, that makes them the underdog. So I got the underdog winning this one.
Okay.
What do you think, Braden?
Really with this one, I think this is a get-back game for the Chiefs because I think the big outlier in last week's primetime game was the entire story was the wide receivers. I don't think that they drop as many balls going into this game. I mean,
Did you see Kadarius Toney?
yeah, but still, I mean, like, he doesn't have to play. I mean, they've got other pieces. I mean, I still believe in Mahomes for sure, but this will probably be not your upset of the week, but I think it's the game of the week for sure. I do want to go Chiefs though.
Okay.
Roger. I'm gonna go Jaguars. I still do not believe in any of the 47 receivers on that Kansas City team. Their quote unquote best receiver was Marquez Valdez-Scantling, was 48 yards. I mean,
I do think Kelsey played this week though. I will say that.
I think they're going to force him to play out there, and he's going to cause the Travis Kelce effect of just being out there causes more distraction, and it's going to open up other lanes. But can they catch the ball is the question.
That would be
They have a team full of Nelson Aguilar's out there.
Oh, wow.
Hitting on Nelly, Jesus.
Ow.
So that's a good trivia question. I want you to look this up, Roger, while we're going through the rest of the picks. Did the Chiefs receivers have the most drops of any team this week?
Yes.
This week? They definitely did.
Kadarius Toney had 4 by himself.
Let me go look and see what their...
Roger, I think you just hate on everyone else's receivers because your wide receiver wants Cortland Sutton. Get out of here.
First of all, I don't hate on other teams' receivers. You gonna tell me you tell me you want to trust your life with the Kansas City receivers? That's not Travis Kelce.
I'm just defending Nelson Aguilar. Man. Get out of here.
Why are you defending him? He's
Nelson
boo boo.
Aguilar, get out of here.
He's boo boo.
All right, well, Roger's looking that stat up for us. We're gonna move
Skymore
on.
went 0 for 3.
Chad also picked Chiefs here, by the way.
Of course he did.
Next up, we got Bears versus Bucks in Tampa Bay. If anybody picks the Bears to win this, I might slap the shit out of you guys. I'm going Bucks.
I'm going Bucks.
I already know I'm going Baker.
I think this Bucks defense is probably going to eat the hell out of Justin Fields. That's not going to end well. They got to prove it first.
Chad is also going Buccaneers on this one, so not many that we've all picked the same team. Actually, this is only the third game of week 2 where we've all picked the same team to win, so that's good. Next up, we got Chargers versus Titans in Nashville. I don't know what else to say. Chargers win this one. I have no faith in Ryan Tannehill, and the fact that they are not using Derrick Henry to run for whatever reason. I don't know if he's like got some kind of nagging injury that we don't know about or whatnot, but he did not look good in game 1, and they did not use him like they normally use Derrick Henry.
Tajay Spears outsnapped Derrick Henry by like 5.
Do what?
Tajay Spears, the backup running back for the Titans, he actually outsnapped Derrick Henry by like 5 snaps. Wasn't necessarily getting the workload on all of it, but he still outsnapped him.
That's insane.
That is very insane.
So,
I'm
Go ahead.
go ahead.
I'm gonna say the Chargers looked good in defeat. The Titans did not look good in defeat. Ryan Tannehill is a shell of what he used to be. Why you're not letting Derrick Henry cook, I don't know. And yeah, this is gonna be one of those games where I hate to say this, but it could probably end in a 2-touchdown game. It could probably be a 2-touchdown differential between these teams, but I am going to go Chargers to win this.
I like the Chargers in this one just for the sole fact I don't trust the Titans offense whatsoever. It looked lethargic. They are all very much shells of their former selves. I just don't trust them whatsoever. The Chargers offense looked very much intact. The big keys that we do have to remember going into this one is if Austin Eckler sits, and then also Mike Williams set a good portion out of last week, but that's nothing new. So Chargers take this one.
Roger?
I'm gonna go Chargers. I think they're a really good team overall, regardless. And like I said, that now that Herbert has more or new weapons here and there, he's going to keep finding ways to get the ball out there and do what he does best. And we don't trust the Titans. They're going back to being the Titans of, I don't want to say the Jeff Fisher era. Let's go with that.
Hey, whoa,
They went to a Super Bowl.
brother, this is not 99.
Hold on. But that 99 team was they were
More
holdovers from the Oilers, so
No, that they were also a better team.
yeah.
They had Steve McNair, Eddie George. Like, they had a plethora of good guys.
Javon
Curse, yes.
Yes. So Chad is also going Chargers here, so that's 2 in a row for us. Next up, we got Giants versus Cardinals in Arizona.
Who gives a shit versus who gives a fuck, basically. It's another one of those games.
Do the Giants bounce back and get their first win? Do the Cardinals actually pick up a win with a very depleted team? I think
Sam Howell looked okay. Not
Who?
great. Sam Howell looked. Oh, wait. Yeah,
what the hell?
Yeah, somehow.
yeah. Sam Howell from Washington.
You're talking about against the Cardinals, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I was like,
Yeah.
hold on, Sam Howell's not on either of these fucking teams.
Oh, what we were confused for a second.
I
Like he
was-
won
I
against
was-
the Cardinals.
No, that's what I'm saying. I was talking about how Sam Howell looked good against the Cardinals.
Yeah,
So,
I knew what you were talking
so
about.
Okay, thank you, Roger. Somebody actually knew what I was talking
I
about.
knew. We just had to explain for the rest of the class.
It's our y'all pick on me all the time. It's fine.
Who's picking on you?
What I'm saying is that if this Arizona Cardinals team lost to, and not to say Sam Howell was bad, but he's not like top 20.
He did have a
And he-
fucking horrible fumble.
He did him. Yeah, that's true. But then again, the Giants lost bad.
Against a
So-
better team, though, overall.
They
Yeah,
lost against a better team.
And we said that's going to be probably the toughest division to begin with.
Yeah. Ugh. To be honest with you, I can't go that far yet. I'm still gonna say the Giants, but it's gonna be close. Like low scoring, like 7-10 kind of scoring game. Because
I guess the Cardinals, hell nah.
Just
So
Giants are winning, but both teams did not play good.
I'm actually gonna go with the Cardinals to win this one.
Shock.
the only man in America.
Probably so.
That means the
um,
Giants are gonna win now. You know that, right?
They more than likely they will, but I have to go off of what I seen on the field between the two teams from week 1. And I have the Cardinals winning this one. I don't have them winning by much. But I think they played offensively and defensively better than the Giants did in week 1. Now, yes, the Giants went up against a better team, but they were still not even able to score a field goal. Nothing. 0. Zip. Zilch. The Cardinals actually were fighting and didn't look terrible. They looked bad, but not terrible. That's where I'm going with this. So I have the Cardinals winning. That might be my hot take of the week, but
It definitely is.
I think when it comes down to this one, this is another team that's going to bounce back. The Giants, some people this is a spot where we can't overreact to week 1 110%. Like, we have to remember that Cowboys defense was something fierce, and the Giants are good. Daniel Jones is a good quarterback. You can't fault him too much for not having any time to fucking throw, you know? I mean, dude had no shot. So
Also,
Cardinals,
no receivers.
I mean, shit. The Commanders, sorry, the Cardinals did not score a singular offensive touchdown.
Mm-mm.
I think when it comes to them having to drive down the field late in the game, Dobbs is not going to get the job done. Hollywood Brown's not going to get the job done. The pieces on that offense is not going to get the job done. The game is probably going to be won in the trenches. The Cardinals D-line impressed me a lot, and if they can get after them like the Cowboys did, then it could become a problem. But in a controlled area like the Cardinal Stadium, I do want to take the Cowboys. Don't want to. Want to take the Giants.
Okay. I'm going to go with the Giants.
Roger.
I'm taking Giants. Same as Brady. I'm not going to overreact week 1. They played a team that the Cowboys was just out there. They played smarter and they played better overall. We saw it. The same issue we talked about last season this season. Who does Daniel Jones have to help him besides Saquon Barkley? And Saquon also gave up a fucking horrible fumble. Or what did he count as an interception? I couldn't remember.
Interception.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it counted as interception.
Even though
Yeah.
it was a fumble. But yeah, I think this year they do bounce back. I think they're going to play smarter and do less big throw attempts and try to clutter up the middle to have like slot receivers gap out and open up for the out routes and flare routes and stuff. And then later on, after they've tired down the Cardinals defense and go for a long bomb. And obviously have Saquon punish the middle.
It's going to be a big Darren Waller game. Calling it now.
I mean, this one was a big Darren Waller game. He's the only one that seemed efficient, even though he's hobbled right now.
Chad is
tight ends.
do what?
Cardinals struggled big time against tight ends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chad is also going Giants here, so. And I will say that if the Giants win, I will gladly take this loss. I'm going by what I see from week 1 to week 2 on my picks. So.
I hope you're right, just so you can shove it in all of our faces. I hope you're right.
I hope he's wrong. I hope he's wrong, so that way he can come back here and say, "Man, fuck the Cardinals."
I'm still going to say fuck the Cardinals.
I was
What are
going
you
to say
talking about?
the fact that he's still going for the Cardinals is the most surprising thing to me.
Yeah, but when he picks the Cardinals and they lose, it's got just a little bit more vitriol in it. It's funny as hell to me. But anyway.
All right, moving on. We got next up 49ers versus Rams, and this is going to be wherever in the hell the Rams play.
Los Angeles?
Yeah, Los Angeles.
SoFi Stadium?
Well, Inglewood technically, but yeah.
Inglewood, yeah.
I do think the 49ers come out and win this game, though.
Yeah, I do too. I definitely think that the defense of the 49ers is way better than the defense of the Seattle Seahawks. So obviously, I don't know if the Rams receivers, I can't pronounce their name to save my life, will probably not have as easy of a time, I don't think. But we'll certainly see what happens, but I'm still going to go 49ers to win it.
All right. Brandon? Or Braden?
Braden.
What the fuck did I say Brandon?
I like the Niners in this matchup. I know the Rams seem to have their number the past couple of matchups over the past couple of years, but like we said before, this is a depleted Rams team, and like you guys stated before, this Niners D-line is gonna probably get after you a lot more than the Seahawks did. Matt Stafford did do great last week, but I think he did have a lot more time to throw than anticipated. So I do want to take the Niners in this one, just because week 1 they did look like the most complete, well-rounded team in the league. So I want to take them on this one.
Roger?
I'm going to give my answer, and then I'm going to give you your stats on your trivia that you asked me. But
Okay.
I'm going to go 49ers. I said they're probably going to be the team in their division to or the conference, sorry, to beat overall. They do look way more complete. Christian McCaffrey definitely was the missing piece to that team to get over the hump. I think this year they may go to the Super Bowl. It may be their year this year. Barring injury, because that's the thing about the 49ers, they get injured way too much at the wrong moments.
Yep.
And before you give those stats, Chad is also going 49ers.
All right, so overall, only 3 teams had more quote unquote missed targets or drops, because it doesn't count them as, it says just missed targets. And
Right.
for sure. And